Alright, I am back on the road here. And I'm going to be going to Whole Foods Market. Okay, so I tested the autopilot on the way here. I'm going to try the cruise control here just to see. One, whether or not I can switch it to full self-driving while I'm moving.
In 500 feet, turn left to take the Interstate 76 East, US 224 East ramp toward Akron.
Okay, and the other is... Okay.
Now turn left to take the Interstate 76
So I'm going to pull off here. Well, I can tell you right now. All right. I can tell you right now the ability to switch between traffic-aware cruise control and full self-driving does not allow you to do it while you're in motion, while you're not parked. So make sure what you want to do before you start moving. Otherwise, you'll have to pull over and do what I did. That said, there is no lane control outside of the full self-driving. So the point of that little test, as brief as it was to see whether or not the traffic-aware cruise control acted more like the original lane control on previous versions of the autopilot. And apparently it doesn't, so failed test. Alright, now I did manually control it just to get on the freeway, but I've already proven it can do that on its own, so we're just going to head back. I did charge the battery a little bit more than I normally like to, but that's because in order to get back to town from where I had to charge it, it will basically be roughly at the point where it is supposed to be full anyway. It will be about the 80%. And then I still have to get home from Whole Foods. So, full self-driving test round 3, I guess. This is mostly Freeway. Now this time, I really am going to try to do as few interventions as possible, at least as far as taking over manual control. I may use the turn signals in order to switch lanes, but only because now that I know it will try to cut people off and pass on the wrong side, and try to pass people on the right when the lane ends, and it wants to keep going straight. Don't like that, so I'm gonna take over with some of the steering, give it a little bit of a hand navigating around that, just because, I don't know, some input is better than none, apparently. I know Tesla's coming out with that robo-taxi, that event is coming up. I have no idea what to think about that. I just hope they get it right. If there's no driver inside whatsoever, I don't know. Based on my experience for the 2 or 3 days that I've had so far, I don't know whether or not I would trust it just yet. Now I just saw the put your hands on the steering wheel, apply a little light pressure. I hadn't seen that the entire way here. I don't know why it was saying that. It might be it lost my eye tracking. I'm not sure, but it was starting to flash. I am looking ahead. I'm looking at the road, keeping an eye on what's going on. guys are supposed to do with this technology, with this FSD 12.5. That was a bit weird. And it was the old school pressure to the steering wheel message that was coming up, so. In case you are wanting to, you can turn off the autopilot just by pressing the center button. On your controls, it works pretty well. Just be aware if you turn it off, you lose your steering. Part of me wishes that there was the ability to go back to just lane control. I don't know, just for people who are used to the old system, and don't necessarily want the off ramps and on ramps and all the other features that are on here. I mean, it would be maybe nice to have a middle option. Personally, I am liking this so far. It is saying apply light steering. How weird. Why is it doing that now? Huh. It might disable the full self-driving here, and I'm not sure why. It keeps on saying that I need to pay more attention, but I am watching what's going on. And it didn't require me to do this before, so that's kind of unique. Situation. I'm not sure what to make of just yet. See if it does it again, but it could just be it lost tracking in my eyes. The more I think about it, it has to be that. Even though it's supposed to work with the sunglasses, it must have thought I wasn't paying attention. I can guarantee you I am actually looking at the road. Semi up here pulled onto the freeway. The truck did move over to accommodate that. That's something my old Model 3 did not have the ability to do. It would have sideswiped me, or I would have sideswiped it, depending on your perspective. Check the autopilot. We're still on the offset plus 10. And the truck really likes to drive under the speed limit. I really don't know why. Maybe give it a little bit of pressure on the accelerator to bring the speed up a little. different than the adaptive cruise control. I guess the big question is, do you really need the vehicle to go above the speed limit while it's driving itself? And I'm kind of torn, you know, if you're on a long trip, yeah, going the extra few miles per hour, it'll get you there faster. The longer the trip, it'll shave time off it. But alright, how is it going to handle this one? It's going to stomp on the brakes a little to accommodate that. Personally, I would have just merged over. Okay.
In 1 mile, take exit 13B on the right onto Ohio 20.
Like I said, I am
Freeway.
just testing this to see how it handles. And I guess I keep going back and forth between wanting to do some interventions versus none. Now, with that guy basically cutting me off, I'm gonna jump over here in the middle lane. And all it really took was the push of a button. So get that menu down. I want to see the map. Okay, now it knows that I have to take this off ramp here, so it's going to try to merge me over in between these two cars. And of course, the Hyundai behind me didn't really like that, so he moved over. Oh well.
Now take exit 13B on the right.
Okay, now here is where I get a little bit skittish, just because, you know, the speed change and the computer, you know, staying between the lines. I don't know how much I really trust it just yet, but trust comes with, okay. That was a weird message that I didn't get to fully read. I might have to watch the replay and pause it, but it looked like it wanted me to take over for a second because it got confused, but it did actually pick up what it needed to do, and it recovered before I could even put my hands on the wheel. That said, I wasn't going fast enough to really be in any danger, at least not as far as I perceived, but it did jerk a little bit. You could definitely feel it was struggling to figure out what it was supposed to do for just about half a second. So hasn't given me that message again with the light pressure on the steering wheel, so it really must be like a backup if it can't tell where your eyes are, or if it thinks you're not paying attention. The pressure on the steering wheel has got to be like a secondary safety feature. So I guess the primary is that camera there, secondary is pressure on the steering wheel, and it only needs one, from what I can tell. Now, a lot of this is pretty straight road, but with the off-ramps and street navigation, I think it'll be a decent day 2 test for this. Staying pretty close to the speed limit. 60 is the limit. It says it's going 61. It's not really adjusting based off traffic at the moment, unless it's taking into account the vehicles all the way up in front of me. Maybe they're moving at the exact same speed I am, or maybe I'm actually overtaking them already, and it knows that. Can see both cars up front on the screen here, so it does know they're there. I just don't know if it's able to put perceive how fast they're going. And I mean, I'm picking up speed a little bit, so it's all right. I guess the big thing is, do you really want to be going that much over the speed limit? If that's a big deal to you, I mean, you can always manually press the accelerator and get going a little faster. I don't know what the top speed of that is. I know with the adaptive cruise control, you can go, I think, up to about 90 and have it still maintain that speed. There's too many cars on the road here to test the full self-driving, as well as police. I think that's the third or fourth cop sitting on the side of the freeway here that I've seen this morning alone. So I'm going to go ahead and not risk a ticket while I'm making a YouTube video. I think that's probably a wise idea. So 1.5 miles away from my first turn here, I'll be taking a exit on.
In 1 mile, take the Interstate 77 south exit on the right toward Akron.
That one. The one it just said. That's where I'm going. There is a major advantage about the truck maintaining roughly the speed limit, and that is that the faster this truck goes, the faster any EV goes really, the more battery power it'll drain. Makes sense.
Now take the Interstate 77 south exit on the right.
If I were to go on a long road trip like I did to get here in the first place, this would help conserve power. It's going to be able to make it a lot further between stops, or get from one charging stop to the next with more power in reserve by maintaining the speed limit than it will if I just have the cruise control on and keep on pushing, 10, 20 miles over the limit. Not that I do that, but I think from my understanding, anywhere over 65 miles per hour, you start to lose energy efficiency really fast. So my big question right now is, why is it going 61 miles per hour when the speed limit is 65? Is it because that's just the most efficient, or is that just what it thinks is safe based on road conditions? I don't have an answer on this video. If anyone knows the answer, I would love to see it in the comments. Pick up speed with every other car going over the limit here. Or maybe they're at the speed limit. I'm just under, so it looks like I'm going much slower. it is creeping up there to where it should be. 64 miles per hour now. Accelerator, even though my foot is close to the pedals.
In 1 mile, take exit 132.
Alright, now there's a car coming up on my right on the on-ramp here. It looks like I'm going to overtake them before they even get to merge, so that was definitely good of the truck to maintain speed. I only hope it uses that same judgment going forward. And I am coming up on kind of a complex maneuver for self-driving. I'm going to get off on the ramp here, exit 132, and then immediately take a left turn at the light. I gotta say, this is a little sketchy with a cement truck to my left. That looked like it was a little close, but the truck is keeping a little bit to the right side of the lane at the moment.
Now take exit 132 on the right.
Oh, and that actually is
feet,
another thing that needs to be changed. The software here for the
now turn left onto
road mapping
Drive.
It does a pretty good job recognizing what's a semi and what's a car, what's an SUV, what's a motorcycle, a person, but it's not perfect. There are times when it shows like lamp posts, light posts as people. Sometimes it shows random people just standing in the middle of a parking lot when there is no one. That cement truck was showing up as a semi. Motorhomes oftentimes show up as semis. It's not a big deal, just a minor improvement that I think Tesla can make, but I do hope in time that it, I don't know, maybe displays other vehicles on the road a little bit closer to what they really are. I understand that it's a little bit of guesswork, but that is a feature that I expect to improve over time. There's a person that it detected right off the side of the road there. That was kind of cool, because they weren't even on the road, so it's a little impressive that it was looking about 5 to 6 feet off the road, several feet ahead of the vehicle in order to find that. It doesn't also show mailboxes, or it also does not show mailboxes. I'm losing my ability to speak today, so that's something that would be nice to pop up. Also, the speed limit sign up here, you can see it there, but it doesn't. Oh, there actually it does show up.
In 500 feet, turn right onto South Frank Boulevard.
But that one didn't. The deer crossing. I don't know if the railroad crossing sign will show up or not. Yeah, it didn't show up on the map, so. Okay, but I just passed a trailer. The truck knew to swerve out of the way. That was kind of nice.
Boulevard.
Taking this turn here. It handled it pretty well. We're back in the city, essentially. City streets. And there hasn't really been any deviation as far as, on the screen. Nothing noticeably different from this versus the freeway, which is what was promised, that the freeway and the city stacks were going to be merged. So it looks like that is the case now.
In 500 feet, turn right onto
based
West
on all the
Market
shrubbery and bushes off to the right of the vehicle, the truck was staying in the left lane a little.
Now turn right onto West Market Street.
That was kind of nice. We'll see how it handles this turn. There's no turn on red. I'm hoping that the truck knows to not actually make this turn. Stop. Okay, so it did not know that there was no turn on red. It was about to go through that, so foot on the brake, good idea. I'm just gonna wait for the solid red arrow here to turn, and then I'll re-engage. I think that just goes to confirm it is not perfect yet. Okay, re-engaging autopilot. This would be test number 3, and yeah, just little things, you know, that right turn on red, that one's kind of a big deal, because if there were a cop there, you know, that could be a ticket, and as the driver, even though the vehicle is actually doing most of the driving, you are still responsible. I know I've said that multiple times in this video and the last, but
in 500 feet, turn left.
this is not 100% autonomous yet. Alright, now I am
turn
at
left.
my destination. And I'm going into the parking lot.
Now your destination is on the left.
Perfect. Where is it going to go? I think it wants to keep driving, but I don't know where. I'm only going to take over here if it decides it wants to crash into something. Otherwise, I do kind of want to see what it does. If it's just going to, I don't know, come to a stop or drive around the parking lot. There's a car off to my right. I think I'm going to want to avoid that. It didn't seem to know
Now
what to
your
do.
destination is on the left.
Okay, and it just came to a stop, so now I'm going to just park and go inside, get some grocery shopping done. I was just curious to see what was going to happen there. So eventually it will stop when you get to your destination, as long as it doesn't run into a gasoline pump, because, you know, that just seems smart. I don't even know what to say there. All right, let's find a parking spot here, and we're gonna go there. That's in front of me. I hope that actually is a parking spot and not a basket return, which it's not. There actually is a spot next to it. So I'm watching the cameras here, making sure that I'm not gonna crash in anything, and you know, if you watch that camera you can see what you're getting close to. But now see, here is what I'm talking about. It was gonna pull me forward, whereas all I need to do is actually keep on backing up a little. I'm looking at the camera. I'm not in any danger of running into anything, but it thinks I am. So I think the sensors need to be calibrated a little bit better. I'm going to put it in park and call it a video.
Now your destination is on the left.
Peace out, everybody. I hope to make maybe 1 or 2 more videos. I do still have to post my road trip. That video just kind of got delayed, but it'll get uploaded eventually. So for now, peace out.